this zone. I would say that yesterday's session, this zone, did actually, this cleared both this 200 period resistance and also the previous swing high on the move. So with IWM in this posture, simply looking to see if we have continuation. Will this be a one-time event? And obviously, with some of the names driving this bullish breakout, does their volatility also lead into volatility of the overall index or ETF product that you trade? So there are some signals here that I would say are worth mentioning. We're getting out of this downtrend. We're getting out of previous resistance. We're obviously setting up a stage for a trending potential price action. But in the back of your mind, be thinking about what stocks are leading this charge and whether you, as a trader or as an investor, wish to trust the volatility that is being facilitated by this move. And whether or not that comes to fruition, we will soon see. So obviously, just keep that in mind. There's always going to be a pro and a con to any trade setup. And when you're looking at index ETFs, you certainly want to know which stocks are going to most facilitate the move. Now, some other things from yesterday. Now, as always, we want to check in with our dollar index. We do not want to ignore this, for the likelihood of movement here will also dictate potential changes in some of our setups that we've been in for quite a while. So dollar so far still on this downward momentum, but we're seeing a lot of stopping action occur at this previous swing low. So we have a support zone. So far that support zone has held. And when you look closely, you will see that the downtrend line is being tested today. Now, we've had multiple tests in the past. Each of these tests has led to a new low. What's interesting about this test is where we're coming from. You want to note that just because we're testing a line, we're also doing it across a trading range. So whereas all of these subsequent tests were swing lows into swing highs, setting lower highs on the overall downtrend, this trading range is simply oscillating. And that oscillation has led price to the downtrend line without a lot of directional bias in between. So if the dollar starts to breach this downtrend line, and more specifically, if it gets out of this overall trading range, be looking for things like gold, silver, possibly commodities, as there is sort of a lagging correlation to a weak or a strong dollar, and things like the equities market to possibly have a reaction based on this change in price. It has not occurred yet. We've seen that the market has, for the most part, gone a bit higher on a dollar that has been consolidating. We've also seen that gold and silver so far have been doing fairly well on this dollar consolidation, with gold and silver both achieving higher prices in recent trading sessions, albeit that gold is starting to look more and more extended on the shorter time frames. We're definitely exceeding expectations on this first part of the move. And silver obviously consolidating over time. That buying climax may have been put in here, and we certainly want to see if silver can just hold the overall trend that we've formed. So just something to note. You don't need to obviously react too quickly, as the dollar has not proven itself yet. But the dollar is in a posture in order for it to break that downtrend line and a break of the trading range, both of which could occur and both of which may have strong reactions in some of the products that we've been looking at and ultimately trading. We also continue to watch the 10-year yields, the 30-year yields, just to see if there's any significant movement. We noted last session that if we have clear sort of quote-unquote support and resistance zones, I would say areas where price likes to react from, doesn't like to go lower, doesn't like to go higher. We simply want to see, is this range going to continue, and can we play the movement from low to high? So if you're looking at maybe tech, going long certain big tech names, it may be worthwhile to look at a candidate and also wait and see if there is a reaction in one of these correlated yield products. I won't say product, I'll say index. So far that has worked out quite well. We've seen drawdowns in the yields lead to higher prices in certain tech names. And obviously with the return of maybe some growth names from yesterday's session, that may be the case moving forward if it can continue. Finally, crude and natural gas, I'll say overall, posture is very similar to recent trading sessions. Crude still trying to break this downtrend. Natural gas holding near the $3 psychological. So, where are some areas of interest that did show themselves in force recently? We did see a little bit of early indication in some of the MJ sectors or industries. So I'll use the MJ ETF for more of the Canadian-based names. And what we saw was short-term sort of short covering with names like CGC and Tilray. Now, this overall ETF has underperformed in the past, I would say, couple of months. We have seen a little bit of volatility at certain swing lows, but overall, the trend is very much to the downside. What is interesting, and this is why you want to always keep these things on watch, is when you have a significant swing low, when you come to test that area, what do you do? Do you break through and go much lower, leading to a downtrend facilitating more lower prices? Or do you fail to really break down and start to either climb back up or build a trading range? Either of which leads you to different trade scenarios. You could say in a trading range, this thing may or may not break back down. I know that the first time it tested that low, that follow through was insignificant. So you as a trader may say, there is enough demand here to hold price for now. And I would like bulls to prove it to me. So maybe I will sell something like option premium to the downside. I will look to maybe sell put spreads. I will look to sell cash secured puts. I will sell iron condors while waiting in this trading range, both to the upside and the downside, with the obvious catalyst to that being you are afraid maybe of a short squeeze in the case of your long spread or your call spread to the upside. But regardless of what your scenario is, you are looking at a notable swing low that failed. If it inflects especially strongly from this area, you may be saying, well, there was no follow through. I am seeing a strong reaction from a known support area, and I'm looking to maybe get in on the next pullback. You can start to position yourself anticipating a more aggressive trend change. And this can be seen maybe on the 4-hour, where you have things starting to shift. You can see 20 and 50 starting to cross. That leads to some upside momentum and obviously more proving to do at the 200. You can also look at larger time frames, and you can say, you know, this thing is probably sold off enough for now. I am starting to build a position here, and in doing so, I'm not looking for all-time highs. I'm not even necessarily looking for very aggressive targets. I'm simply looking for a weekly or monthly change based on a daily trend change. And in that change, I'm targeting some sort of lower high, maybe some notable resistance zone that has established itself above. This can be seen in many different areas. And we've been discussing a few of these in recent history, albeit the turnaround is going to take some time, especially as there is a lot of proving left to do. You look at something like the solar sector. I'm using the TAN ETF for this example. We see that things like structure has been repaired, gap fills have been established. This follow through was significant, but upon returning to this gap fill, we have already come back to this zone of previous resistance. Can they get above this area? And in doing so, can we get a strong reaction to carry the price in some sort of, say, maybe short covering along with maybe renewed interest in this zone? We also see that the 20 has been closed above, and we are starting to break through this shorter term trading range. We can see, let's see, other growth sectors. Any of the EV names correlated to obviously solar, putting in very similar postures where, yes, we did have follow through on the downside, but the reaction so far, the volume signals at some of these low points, and specifically the fact that we're already starting to clear the previous swing highs on the downtrend. These are the early signals of some trend shift, I would say, scenarios, some thesis ideas. And if you are someone who likes to take bullish positions, if you are someone who is looking for opportunity on a downswing sort of scenario where you're looking for sentiment to change, you're starting to review different areas that showcase these signals. And there are obviously multiple ways they can form. We saw NEO have a strong push yesterday as well. We saw Tesla with the trading range failed breakdown, inverse head and shoulder posture, and of course XPEV, the other possible trading name. So regardless of which name you choose, the overall, I would say, turnaround point is roughly the same. There's going to be a bottom of some type. That bottom typically has a bit of accumulation inside of a trading range. And when that has broken, usually we'll see a lot of follow through. You'll see multiple days where there is higher highs, higher lows, very few pullbacks, and the pullbacks are usually muted because bigger money, larger money has already established some positional bias in this area, and the prices are simply moving based upon that. We as traders can see signals based on volume, based on just overall technical structure, and the fact that a lot of these names are simply coming into zones where buyers have existed in the past. You look at XPEV, it has returned to its IPO high and has reacted quite strongly off of it. You see NEO coming off of an area of breakout, I would say maybe not as clear, and then Lee back into a zone of accumulation before some of the overall hype and mania that occurred in the EV space. So regardless of how you posture yourself as a trader, this could be just a swing idea. And that swing could be hitting your targets at this point with the anticipation that the downtrend will continue. You could be setting yourself up for a core trade, some sort of turnaround play where you expect growth and certain sector industries to outperform. You should have been looking at some of these opportunities and setting yourself up for that sort of turnaround play in some of these names. Obviously, still not targeting all-time highs yet, but looking for just some undervalued areas of performance. And then finally, if you're a short-term trader, what occurred yesterday was sort of the reactionary big range expansion, nice trading stocks that you can take advantage of in the realm of the day trader or even a swing trader with a couple of day time frame. So as always, take these examples, put them into your pocket and review them, because markets tend to repeat themselves regardless of what the stock industry catalyst happens to be. These cycles always show themselves in one form or another, and look to take advantage of them early, along with taking advantage of them when everybody is watching, which is what we got yesterday. So with that said, I'm Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Obviously, we're getting some nice movement into growth. Let's see if that continues. It helps us as day traders, expands our range that we can trade against. And obviously, we have a lot of market participants now, so that adds to our liquidity as traders as well. So trade safe, take it easy, stay tuned for pre-market prep.
Good morning, Thor.
Good morning, good sir.
Okay, all right. Hello on YouTube. Hopefully it looks like we are there. Okay. Whew, I gotta tell you, you may notice I am not as pretty as Carlos, sorry. But we do have the gorgeous Thor here to bring up the quality. And with both Norm and Carlos off, Thor and I have been thrust into the spotlight and the hot seat. So we'll do our best to get you through the pre-market prep. So, all right. I hope your day is going well. Aw, thanks, Hans. Okay, well, I didn't do this show yesterday, so I obviously don't have Carlos's summary review of yesterday. I will say, if we just take a peek at the SPY like I got here, let me just show you from yesterday. I thought yesterday was actually quite an interesting day. It provided some unique trading opportunities, but it doesn't make it easy, does it? So, when right off the open we dropped heavily, I know that Thor, you were able to take advantage of that with a beautiful. Didn't you take a nice trade off the VWAP for that?
I ended up only trading yesterday. I had a really not interesting trade on Urban, and then I ended up getting a nice short on NCLH a little bit later. Okay. But I know Andrew played AMC relatively close to the open and got a great rip on that with the the Wall Street Bets folks.
Must have been the day before that you traded the SPY. Anyways, SPY certainly gave us some opportunities. And although in the afternoon I've been noticing this significantly, being that I trade all day. The afternoons have really started to get, like, I'll call it summer choppy, and this typically happens over the summer months when volume drops. And you get sort of less action, which doesn't give us the opportunity to, sort of get those big volume moves. You can see here, I was just calling up my pen. You can see here, look at this. I mean, the volume is barely appreciable on the chart here because it's so low. And that is something that we typically see through these afternoons. So a little bit pick up into the close, but then it's just people settling out. As you can see, it doesn't give you big moves. It just gives you a little bit of chop. So we'll see what happens. But I think we should settle in for some summer type trading, which means the mornings tend to be good. If you trade the open, you're in luck. Those will continue. Midday can be hit or miss, and then the afternoons generally are sort of flat. Now, that being said, right, that's when you generalize, and you know what happens? Today is going to be like the exact opposite. Like lunch hour will be flat, and then we'll get these big moves in the afternoon. That's another thing I've noticed in the summer months is that you can get out of nowhere, suddenly you'll get these like massive moves in the afternoon, and it's beautiful if you're there and if you're watching it. So,
well, and today, Peter, could be another day like that. One thing I notice is the SPY is in a much narrower range today than it was yesterday, which means we could have a breakout in one direction or another, but we're opening in mid-range, so it may take it an hour or two to bounce around before it finally picks a direction and breaks out. So it'll be an interesting day to watch today for sure. Probably not a good day to rush and get in early, but maybe a little bit after. Hey, look, there's two of me.
So absolutely. So look, I flipped to the market pulse. So maybe you can give us a feel for what you sort of see happening over the course of the day today, Thor. You're sort of started on that, and then we do have quite a number of economic reports coming out right about now. I haven't actually seen them yet, but
yeah, I haven't seen them yet. I was just starting to look for them. Anybody, if you spot them, feel free to share them in the chat. But 8:30, we're supposed to have the jobless claims starting to come out. And then, with durable goods and all of that, normally market gets pretty on that. Looks like a lot of people in the chat here over in BBT are saying unemployment down, jobless claims better than expected. So, and I am seeing a little bit of a pop on the SPY as well that just started around 8:30 as well. So maybe the market is responding well to the jobless claims. We got a narrow band. Maybe, we could have a good day today. We'll end up seeing what happens. But so yeah, we've got it looks like we've got that going on. So some notable stuff out there. Looks like we've got travel and sector seems to be moving around. I know BA is gapped out already today. Cruise lines are looking a little interesting this week. So it'll be really interesting to see what goes on.
Yeah. All right. I'm just noticing some of the quality. I'm not sure what's going on here of what I'm presenting is sucky. So please do not adjust your sets. It is not you. It is definitely coming from the broadcast center here in Canada, Ontario, Canada. So I'll take that as my sort of bandwidth issues or something. I'm not sure, but this shared screen is poor in quality. So my apologies for that. All right. Thanks, Hugo, in the room posting a nice little "Oh Canada" meme. All right, let's start taking a look at what we got gapping. Now, I know as always the gappers list is a little small, so I'll read them out what we've got here, and we'll go through them. There are some earnings that we'll talk about as well that may or may not have hit the gappers. So let's start with at the top of the list, the one that's gapping up most at 35% is MOXC. Not something I've ever looked at before. Moxian Inc. I don't even know what that is, to be honest. But
I don't think anybody does.
It does have, well, it's not a low float. Well, it's sort of on the edge. 18.8 million I see here, so that's what I consider on the low float. Despite having 600,000 shares, to me the pre-market activity looks terrible. So I can see.
I don't see any notable news on them. Just that really jumps out at me. Like they haven't really had much on the book since like March, so yeah. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't even on the right part of the chart here. But yeah, the pre-market activity looks terrible, so I'm not going to look at them unless there's some massive news that people know about. on it, but it doesn't look exciting to me. Next on the list, LNTH, gapping up 13.8%, 330,000 shares. Again, pre-market looks terrible. And when I say terrible, I should have roughly the same definition as Carlos, which means, look, it's not consistent price action. See these minutes where there's either no shares traded or so few that you basically just get like this flat line as a candle, right? That means it's not really consistently in play. You can see by the volume bars here, there's nothing much going on. So it doesn't give me hope that we're going to get a good trending stock that's going to give us sort of in play momentum once the market, the opening bell rings. So we'll get rid of that one as well. Halt me, Thor, if you see anything that you love. BTBT is one we have looked at in the past. It's up on our list today. Same story here, right? Look at the play here. It's really not sort of in play at this point. Most of the volume seems to have happened right at 8 o'clock. And since I have my good buddy Thor here, we could talk momentarily about. One of the things that we often look at is the tinfoil line. Now, it's been interesting that I've noticed this tinfoil line, as we call it, we called it that sort of as a joke, but it sort of stuck, right? Because
absolutely.
We found that what was happening at 8 o'clock, there's either a settling of accounts or just a clearing of backlog, whatever is happening, you get these usually small body, big wick candles like you're seeing here on BTBT with big volume that come out. Sometimes, if you mark the high and low of that candle right at 8 o'clock, that specific 1 minute candle, you will get over the course of the day, it sort of using that as a level. Here we go. Here's the tinfoil line theory. Sometimes, though, it just completely ignores it. So I haven't found consistency, and I found in these markets that it will. Sometimes that line happens less frequently on stocks, whereas other days it happens more frequently. So there's not a lot of consistency to it. But I mark it anyways most days because if it does obey it, I want to know. So just keep that in mind. Use it if you want or don't.
I have the same experience with it. I still see it here way too often. I mean, it's definitely showing us something, but we never know what, right? That's why we call it the tinfoil line. It's it's a tinfoil hat theory. It seems to work, but we don't know why. So there it is.
Looking sharp, and Thor is wearing that hat under his baseball cap. Just to be clear, just so you know. So
100%.
All right. Anyways, BTBT as a stock is not something I'm interested in. I've got a couple of these. I think these are all Bitcoin plays. CAN. I notice I've got a few others on the list. Mara's up there, but
Mara's on there. Riot's on there.
Yeah. So let me just take a quick look at Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin doing? So Bitcoin, where's 39,465 right now? Yeah, not moving huge, but enough to pop some of these. Like CAN, not a good candidate, really. I mean, there's often better ones out there to play if you want to play any of them. Usually it's, Mara is one. Even that doesn't look fantastic this morning, but anyways, if you want to play Bitcoin, it's always an option. And it's funny, I know Carlos mentioned this yesterday because when I was listening to him, I don't like the way they trade either. So I actually don't usually trade any of the Bitcoin tracking stocks. I'm not sure why. I don't enjoy them. I can't seem to predict them. My strategies don't work well. So I don't know if Thor, I don't see you trading them much either, do you?
Mm-mm.
In the immortal words of Ahmet, he's saying they trade like poop. So all right.
I don't do well.
All right.
I do really good with just like the good old fashioned, highly liquid, high cap, good stuff that I'm a volume trader, and I need order flow in order to see what I'm seeing. So, and I get killed out on just about everything else.
Right. Indeed. So, a couple things that are moving around. I noticed that I don't have my list. Let's put Beyond Meat here. So Beyond is jumping up. Pre-market action doesn't look fantastic unless there's some news. This may be just a hangover, if you will, from I think there was some news. Was it late last week or earlier this week? Anyways, whatever it was. Beyond's another one of those that, frankly, never really got the handle for trading. I know at one point Norm was all over this baby, but not my cup of tea.
Only because he likes the food so much.
Yeah, I think it was irony. I think it made him feel good to be able to take money off of the fake meat company. So, all right, Boeing is on my list here, and I'm not going in order because I put these on earlier. But I do like the look of Boeing this morning. The daily, in fact, looks good too. Boeing has shown some strength over the last few days. It tends to rise and fall with the transport sector. Sometimes it leads it with the announcement of new plane manufacturing. Is there any news on Boeing of note this morning, Thor, or is this just general momentum?
No, that's what I'm looking at now. I know that Boeing started to move yesterday, quite a bit. And let's see, they're to pay 17 mil in an FAA settlement over the 737 Max. That's pretty fresh news. So I would imagine because they're going up with that, they're probably paying less than people expected them to pay for this fine for the FAA settlement.
Right.
So they probably expected that settlement to be much larger. And because it's, 17 million, which for Boeing is probably like you and me going down to the 7-Eleven and writing a $5, using a $5 bill, it probably doesn't really hurt them balance sheet wise at all. So I think that's bringing a little bit more excitement into it, knowing that they're not going to take as much punishment over that.
Sure. I see Alan posting in our chat room that the Airbus CEO said business is going to be very good, very, very good. So that could have a carryover to Boeing, which is a competitor to Airbus. So there you go. All right, good. Somebody's mentioning AAL. So yeah, usually the airline stocks, when Boeing goes up, they tend to also move with it. So AAL, UAL, there's a few of them, DAL. I don't, again, haven't had a lot of luck with them recently. But if Boeing's moving, yes, it's worth watching those as well. All right, CGC is next on our list. Wow. Look at the pre-market here. Very flat, not really good price action. I know that it was mentioned in the room the other day, that and Tilray, TLRY, but I'm not seeing, again, much on them today. Again, this could just be continuation from previous day moves. Maybe they'll be in play, maybe not. Right now, not seeing anything to write home about, so I'm going to take them off my list.
Yeah, I've had very little success intraday trading the pot stocks lately. It just doesn't seem to really have it, and at least not yet. I don't think they're really in play overall, so I've been staying away from them quite a bit.
Right. Fair enough. So Riot Blockchain next on my list. It's here. Same. So obviously with the blockchain stocks, it's moving with the price of crypto, which is looks like it's moving down right now. But Riot's probably one of the better of them. But again, still, I don't really follow. But we'll leave it here. Maybe we'll set some levels. We'll use that one as the one to set levels. What else have I got on the list here? PAC. What is up with PAC? Let me add some lines. Whoops. That was not what I wanted to do. All right, what did I just delete here? Riot, PAC. Oh my goodness, learn to type, kid. Okay, PAC. 339 shares, up 2.7%. Pre-market action does not look great. I don't know if there's any news on this. Did they have earnings? Did I see that on my earnings list somewhere? No, that was Plan I was thinking of. I don't know what's happening with PAC, but it doesn't look great.
They had a public offering yesterday. Public offering of 5 million shares. And they went down quite a few percent. So I think maybe they're rebounding a little bit from that.
Yeah, I don't like the look of them. I'm getting rid of it. All right, X is on the gappers list. Now, X we know generally can move just because it gets volume. It is a NYSE stock, which means you got to be careful. Now, when we talk about that, we say be careful. The New York Stock Exchange stocks, just because they have a different, the market makers manage them differently, and it's a different structure than the way stocks are managed on the NASDAQ. So because of that, they tend to move a little differently. They provide trading opportunities, if you get to know them, if you get to know how they move, and you can trade them. A lot of people say I just don't like them because I find that they can be. I don't know. They can be less consistent in the way they react to technical signals if you're a technical trader, which frankly a lot of us in the Bear Bulls room are, and I know I am. And Thor, you certainly use technical signals off of VPA. Because NYSE, the way they do it, I find that those signals can be harder to interpret. So it doesn't mean don't trade them. It just, as long as you're aware of that, you can still find opportunity. But X right now, I don't know if there's news on infrastructure spending or the price of steel or what, but it's not looking great. But who knows? It may start to move. But Robbie, you're asking a good question. Stocks like NCLH are NYSE stocks, and we trade it. Right. So sometimes there is a difference. You're right, and it's not. I honestly can't tell you why. I think sometimes when they are part of an industry grouping and most of that grouping trades on a different, like on the NASDAQ, the ones that are NYSE stocks tend to follow the patterns, which make them better to trade. This is just my theory. I don't know whether there's any merit to it whatsoever, but you're right. NCLH, you can trade, sort of in place of CCL, and sometimes it's actually a better trader. But CCL, now that I'm looking at it, is also a NYSE stock, isn't it? So yeah, like I said, it doesn't mean that you can't trade them. Just be aware that sometimes they can trade differently. Why can't I? NCLH. Oh my goodness. That's why I can't type it. There we go. All right. Back to our list because it's getting longer here. What am I missing? F-Cell. I haven't seen F-Cell on the list in a while. Fuel Cell doesn't look great today. Boy, the daily's been actually
looks a little algo-y.
Yeah, actually that's a good point. And you can see when Thor is saying that, when you say algo-y, look at these levels. See how it like
technical term.
Yeah, exactly. See how it hung out in this level. This is like a 1 cent move, and it's like consistent for 4 or 5 minutes, and then poof, it just jumps up another 2 cents, and then it hangs out in a 1 to 2 cent range here for another 5 or 6 minutes, and then it jumps up 2 cents, and it hangs out here for a bit. So yeah, this definitely looks like it's computer-based trading, which would tell me it's not in play with retail traders, which is what we need for this to be effective. So maybe it'll come into play later, but right now, yeah, the price action is not looking good pre-market so far. All right, that's there's a couple down here on the list that are just over 2% that don't look great to me. I'm not even going to worry about them unless guys love them because I know them, like Cleveland Cliffs, CLF, Fubo, and NDM don't often provide trading opportunities, in my opinion. So let's go to the gapping down list. On the top of that list, we have Plan. Plan dropped a lot really early this morning, but it's been largely trading sideways here. Again, price action right now looks not good, looks terrible, so does not look to be in play whatsoever. Lizzie has big volume, 1.5 million shares traded, but once again, price action doesn't look great. I sort of like the daily, though, because it was flat. Uh-oh, now my arrows have gone wonky. So it was flat here for a while, and then it sort of jumped up. It looks like yesterday, and then it might be continuing that move today. But it is gapping down. Hold on a sec. It's gapping down. Let me look at a 60-minute chart. I see why. Okay, so it really gapped up after the close yesterday, and then it lost all of that and came below the close line. So that's why we're seeing the gap down. This could be a potential play today, even though the pre-market doesn't look good. Is there any news on it, Thor, that you're seeing?
Let's see. I was answering a couple of questions in the chat. Let's see here.
Lizzie.
First quarter report, financial results. So that was the 25th, though. Nothing overtly fresh. I'm just seeing right at the beginning.
Fresh. It's all getting a little stale. It's in the discount bin. All right, yeah, I don't see any news either myself, just looking here. So, all right, well, you know what? I'll leave it there for now. I'm a short bias trader, so I do like things that gap down. So we'll see what happens with Lizzie, but this could go either way. Again, pre-market move right now doesn't look great, and OTC is giving us a warning saying Lizzie is highly manipulated. Okay, well, it's good to know that. I can't remember ever trading it, frankly, but. Anyways, we'll see. Maybe I'll put some levels. Maybe it only gets to my secondary list. All right, next on the gappers list, I had it down here, DLTR, because I know they had earnings. There's a whole series of companies that all beat their numbers. And, you know, what's been happening lately? You beat your numbers, your stock drops. So apparently no good deed goes unpunished in these markets. And DLTR is right in there. As far as, if I'm right, I think they beat both top and bottom line. But they are down 6.2%. Only 100,000 shares. DLTR is an odd one where they are a NASDAQ stock. I've usually found that they trade fairly low volume pre-market and then doesn't provide a lot of great trading opportunities once the market's open. So I'm a little ambivalent. You know, I may keep it if there's nothing better, but hopefully we'll get some better moving things to watch.
Yeah, I have DLTR often has a really broken level too, so you end up with massive out of the nowhere gaps in the price action. Right now, the spread for $100 stocks sitting anywhere between 30 cents and 60 cents, depending on what part of the level 2 you're in. So just keep that in mind if you decide to play this one. That unless the order flow comes in a little bit better and that spread tightens, it'll be a wild ride.
Right. The other one I'll mention, it's on my list. I put it on there so I wouldn't forget. Dollar General's also in the same category, obviously. They also had earnings. They also beat their numbers. They are also gapping. Well, actually, they're up. They're up 1.8%. I thought they were gapping down. But they haven't hit our gappers list because, well, one, they're not over a 2% differential. And secondly, they haven't even hit 100,000 shares yet. So, but those are two that I often watch together because they had earnings. Both had earnings this morning. All right, back to our gappers list. Next on the list is AMC. Now, AMC is our fun meme stock. It and GME have been in play the last couple of days. And AMC has actually provided some pretty good movement. If you look at it on a 60-minute chart over the last few days, starting on a Monday, because if I look at it, I'm looking like last week it was pretty flat through here, but then it started to go up on Monday, just increased that volume Tuesday, and then yesterday it kept going up. So today may be another decent day for it. I struggle with AMC at these valuations, but you know what? We're technical traders, so who cares what the valuation is? If it moves, right?
Yeah, the Wall Street Bets crowd is blasting AMC right now. They've been talking about it all over the place. And yesterday they gapped a bit. Whole bunch of volume came in. 380,000 shares came in at this level. Still have a short interest of 21%. So if this thing can break above, I think the kill level for them is like 20 to 21 bucks. That they're all saying if it goes through that area, that the shorts are going to start to have to bail, like the big time shorts are going to have to start covering out, and then they expect to GameStop this thing and squeeze it up to like $200 or $300 or something like that in a matter of days. Now, so it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. You never know when you're going to get that fun chance, but don't put your whole day on it either.
Absolutely. So I'm just trying. So as you can see, as I zoom out on the daily chart, we're not anywhere near all-time highs. All-time highs are way over here at like 35, 36 bucks. But that was before it memed, right? We're talking way back in 2017 for that. So if I look, let me just look at this short-term high here, 21.45. I'm just going to put a level while I'm there, but if I come over to the recent history, I had already marked here the high of this day when it really spiked up here in January the 27th at 2036. So anyways, we'll come back to this on levels, but I think, Thor, you're exactly right. Like this thing, because it's got such support from the Wall Street Bets crowd. I mean, look at it. It's 8.5 million shares already on this bad boy. So, I mean, it's moving. And this is what I mean by, this is what I'm looking for in good pre-market action, where it looks like it's open, right? This is sort of trading like open. You don't have any gaps on candles. The volume, while, again, it looks relatively low, but it's because we had such a big volume candle at 8 o'clock, but it's consistent. So, you can play it. If I scale my chart here to get that 8 a.m. off, you can see we do have consistent volume every minute here. So, the average shares trading per minute is over 50,000. So that's pretty good. Last thing I'll mention on AMC is that here is, like we were talking about earlier, right? Here's your tinfoil line on AMC. So this, to me, is a prime stock where the tinfoil theory can really apply. Look at the tiny body, big wicks, and if you look at the pre-market range, right? This wick happens to go up and set right here to basically high of day, or high of pre-market. And it, at the time, had set almost, sort of a low level that I don't know whether it's going to obey it or not. But we do have, right, what Thor often refers to like a value zone. We have an area, anyways, where it's been trading around for a while. Now, I don't have the pivots on this chart, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a value zone in here because it's been chopping around that level for a while. So we'll see what happens with this, but it is absolutely staying on my list. All right.
Yeah, 1840 set up a really, really solid level on AMC. You can kind of see it pivoted there around VWAP around like at 7 o'clock when the volume came right back and tested that 1840, made a new high. I know Jared's already long in it at 1850 and has his first partial at VWAP. So it'll be interesting to see if that was the grab and it keeps going.
Oh, look at that. Oh, well, Jared. All right. Jared's on top of it. Jared, I am cheering for you. Hopefully it hits the top of the tinfoil line. The high of pre-market sets a new high for you. That'd be awesome. All right, let's go back. Let's keep on going with our gappers list because I'm now running behind. OSH is the next one here. Let me just peek at it first. Don't really like the pre-market action that much unless there's some specific news. What is Oak Street Health? I do not know what this is. I don't think I've ever traded it. A NYSE stock. Yeah, it's sort of bopping around here, but doesn't look great to me. RCM is next on my list. 300,000 shares, 3%. Oh, pre-market looks terrible, right? I do not like it when you get gaps. Yeah. Oh my, look at the size of that baby.
No, that is an arrow.
That's all right. I don't like when you get these giant candles followed by like absolutely nothing action, right? So that's usually a warning sign for me. Anyways, so that's that. GME. Well, we already mentioned that GME is our second meme stock. Now, pre-market on GME doesn't look all that great. Only 200,000 shares. So if I'm going to meme it, I think I'll stick with AMC for today. Last on the actual gappers list is Snow. Take a quick peek there. Snow, pre-market doesn't look bad. I know Snowflake. I remember when this IPO'd a while back, so I don't think it has a huge history. When did it IPO? It was late last year. Looks like October. I've never really found any good trading in it. Unless there's specific news why I'd want to watch it, I think I'm going to ignore it for today. Last couple that I'll mention, and then I'll ask Thor if you have anything you'd want to add to the list. A couple that I just keeping an eye on because I know they had earnings either last night or this morning was Workday, Nvidia, and Best Buy. You can see them on my list here. Now all of them have, they're not doing anything this morning. They're either under 2% or under 200,000 shares. I noticed Best Buy just made it onto our Gap Up list at 2.6% gapping, over 200,000 shares now, but not doing a lot pre-market. It can often give us opportunities once the market opens, though, so I do like Best Buy, so I'm going to leave it on my list. Nvidia has been in play the last couple of days. Here's another big tinfoil line on it. So we'll see what happens. Workday is probably the worst of those three. You can see pre-market, absolutely nothing going on. But it did have earnings, so I just thought I'd mention it. But I'm not going to watch it. Thor, anything else you think we should add to our list this morning?
I have to admit, I am very unenthusiastic about this morning's overall options that we have before us today. If Norm was here, I think him and I would be calling it a My Pillow day. which is where I didn't really sleep last night because my daughter, she has autism, decided to have a full-on party last night, so I didn't go to bed because I was with her, and I was thinking, man, maybe I should just go to sleep. But on that note, I am going to be watching to the travel sector today. I do think airlines and cruise lines have a lot of things to be happy about right now, and I think there has been some rotation into there. And then other than that, I'm going to sit back and watch our scanners and see if anything interesting stuff starts to pop up. But I'm definitely not going to try and get overly committed to a position too early until I see how the SPY specifically shakes out a little bit.
All right. Well, that sounds very reasonable to me. Whoops, I'm not showing you a chart at all. All right. So with that, guys, we're going to do some levels. But before we do that, why don't we take a look at our announcements for the day, and let me just cue those bad boys up, and off with you, Thor.
Right on. So last night we had the town hall with Dr. Katz. That was pretty awesome. Oh, that's in the next slide. I got backwards. So Tuesday we did, I did a presentation. Holy moly, look at that. It was pretty good, actually. The response from everybody was absolutely fantastic. Yesterday I had one of the best days ever because I was tagged in Twitter maybe a dozen times by various traders who tried out the new strategies and had a good time with them. So I was really excited about that. So thanks everybody for the tags and all that. That was a lot of fun. My name, I'm at Thor Young. If you happen to ever want to tag me, you can actually see me underneath there. Thanks for throwing me on there, Peter. And then you can see everyone else's stuff up below that. Bear Bull Traders, Carlos, Norm, everybody else like that. So next week we have what I think is going to just be one of the coolest webinars. So I would definitely like to recommend it, which is Jared from our Engineering the Markets is going to be doing cycles with a technical twist. I think this is just going to be an awesome thing to get into. Jared's technical expertise in the market is amazing. I've been very impressed with his growth and development of his thing. I'm watching his technical analysis show in the morning is like my new thing to do. So I would definitely make sure you have time to get in there and check that out.
Uh-oh. Sorry. Clicked on the wrong thing. My bad. Now I'm stuck. What have I done? There we go.
I need a touch screen.
My bad. Sorry.
All right. So back to the, I started to talk about this first, which is we had the town hall with Dr. Katz last night. Super cool. They had some traders from PCT in there talking about, different psychological issues to go into and overcome. Also not on the sheet, but I just want to throw it out there. Mike has started to do a 2:00 psychology session on Wednesdays, since Wednesday is kind of psychology day, if you will, for BBT. Mike has started to doing a 2:00 psychology review in the middle of the day. Might become the new hot thing at BBT. I watched a few minutes of it yesterday when he started getting into it. Really cool. So that might be something to throw on your radar for something to do midday on a Wednesday. But the town hall with Dr. Katz was fantastic. And then next week we have Dr. Kenneth Reed. I love the title, A Trader Walks into a Bar. But what he's going to be talking about here is he's actually going to be talking about the misdirection bar. And I'm really interested to see what he's talking about because it's kind of a reference on psychology and patterning and how, certain bars can misrepresent in a certain way and kind of make you want to get in, even though when it's actually telling you shouldn't. So I'm really interested to see what he brings to the table to help us be less fooled during these kind of events. All right, BBT member trade of the day. Shout out to Kyle, I believe, won our trade of the day most recently and using a pivot strategy, I believe. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Pretty awesome. Congratulations, brother. Kyle ATX, there he is. So super stoked to see that, and he's sporting his contributor badge and all of that. So look at this. So if you're interested in being in the getting in on this trade of the day thing, mark up your post of your best day and put it on Twitter. All you need is a handle. Tag Andrew at Bear Bull Traders, Mike BBT with the underscore, and at Norm BBT. Use hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading, and Stock Market. And then the winner gets announced in the BBT Monday closing show on Twitter. And basically, this is our community's kind of a way of just kind of keeping active and putting out there. My favorite thing daily is getting to see everyone's trades that they're posting, good or bad. Sometimes we post in there that not the best trades too, hotkey error or something like that. But it's really fun to see those and to see what comes with it. So looking forward to more of that.
Always more.
Congrats again, Kyle.
All right. Sorry, I'm a little slow on the buttons here.
If you are interested in coming off the YouTube world and checking us out here at Bear Bull Traders, we're not one of the rooms that are going to make you just jump in and commit like full to everything, pay us a couple of grand, we're going to take your money and you're not going to know what's going on, right? We're willing to let you come in and check us out for free because we think we have value to bring to you. $39, you can get the 7-day trial. Code is premarket24. That gets you access to the chat room for a week. And that also gets you access to our onboarding sessions. The onboarding sessions with Carlos, he runs you through the website, does basic chat stuff, kind of gets you an idea of what you're getting into. And then we've got Kyle, who is our, resident programmer engineer. And he is just absolutely awesome at the platform and building scripts. He does a little presentation in there as well to kind of bring you on board with that. So just really great value for $40. I'm not sure there's anywhere you can spend $40 in the trading world and get a week's worth of content like that. Once we impress you, we're going to try and give you a deal to get in with us big time annually. So we're running 40% off our annual elite membership right now since Memorial Day is coming up. Code Memorial 20 or Memorial 40, and that'll get you 40% off of that.
Okay, thanks, Thor. All right, we're running a little bit behind here. So I want to give a shout out to Fernando and Nabil on YouTube. They've provided some recommended stocks to take a look at. So if you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. A little sympathy thumbs up maybe as we're sitting in for Carlos and Norm, the two experts. But Twitter was the first one they mentioned. Twitter looks great on the daily. After that gap, it's now moving up towards the sort of where that gap started. If it's able to move up today, there might be an opportunity, but the pre-market doesn't look great. So it's one that I would just put on scanners and watch if it pops up. Tel is interesting. I was hoping that maybe, Thor, you could look up Tel for me. I don't know if there's any news on it, but the daily doesn't look bad. It's low price compared to what I normally trade, only at $4, which is why it wouldn't show up on our list, because our gappers only tends to take stocks that are over $5. But the move here has been great, up 25%, almost 11 million shares, and the pre-market action looks good. So I don't know what the story is, but
all right, so
Tel doesn't.
Tel is.
Yeah.
It looks like they're. It says that they've signed a 10-year agreement with Gunvor. I'm trying to figure out Magellan Petroleum Corporation. Okay, so this is oil.
Gunvor?
So Magellan Petroleum Corporation.
What's Gunvor?
So.
All right. Okay. Well, that may be worth keeping.
Yeah, it looks like they've got like a contract.
I'm going to keep Tel on the list. The other one that was mentioned was TIGR. TIGR, again, on the daily, not so bad. It's been pulling up the last couple of days. Nothing happening pre-market, though. Look at this pre-market action, right? Non-existent. So again, if it comes up under the gappers later, if it proves to be in play, then certainly we can take a look at it. Right now, nothing to write home about, so I'll take that off. Last, I see a bunch of people saying, you should talk about AMD. I'm always happy to talk about AMD. But AMD, I trade it because I like it and I'm familiar with it, but it doesn't mean it's a better stock than any other, right? I fully acknowledge that. I've just got familiarity and comfort with it. Pre-market looks terrible on AMD, right? By all measures, I should delete it. The daily even doesn't look that good. I just sit here hopeful that I'm going to be there when it decides to move towards 100. So we'll see. That being said, it actually has moved pretty well this week. I think I've traded it every day and had some good opportunities. So I like AMD, but again, from it's not an in-play stock. It just happens to be my chosen stock that I like to watch. So, but we'll see what happens. I mean, the daily. Well, you say the daily looks amazing. Well, I mean, to me, it's got to get over. It's got to get over this 79 area, which it's struggled with. And if you remember, we were talking about this in the room yesterday. Look at the number of times it's sort of hit its head right on a relative level here. So yesterday it didn't even get as close to it. So it's got to push up a good buck from where it is to show that it's serious. And really the price action hasn't been fantastic the last couple of days. But again, because I'm comfortable and familiar with it, I still trade it. Anyways, all right, guys, we are totally out of time.
AMD's daily volume continues to drop as well.
Yeah. Let me do some levels really quick or tell you what levels I've got. Boeing, I've already got a daily level marked at 260.51, so if we do head up, I'll be looking for that. The tinfoil line is here on Boeing. I'll just put my typical light marks that I put in here at the top and bottom of that 8 a.m. 1-minute candle. And then on the daily, obviously we have this high. No expectation it's going to get way up here, but at 278.50 on that side. On the downside, well, there's nothing in immediate play to my mind. There is sort of a level cutting through here, but it's not a great one at 232.60. So we'll see what happens. We'll probably use levels off the previous couple of days if we get there. Riot blockchain, again, Riot's got to move up. I've already got a daily level marked at 33.50 if it goes up, but that's quite a bit above the price action. So we'll see what happens. Not something I'm going to keep on my primary list anyways. OCGN, good volume this morning, 1.8 million shares almost. Looking at the daily, I can certainly see where it's had some, hasn't been able to break through this 930, 940 level. But that's $2 above the price action. Then I have the previous 2 days highs and lows, which I can use to keep an eye on it. X is here. Looks actually okay pre-market. It's moving. You never know with X, right? I have a daily level marked at 26.40 and 27.40. I'll leave those in, and then the previous day's highs and lows that I'll keep an eye on. Lizzie, we mentioned, it was mentioned that we should be careful because it's sort of manipulated. Obviously, yesterday's high and low, look at that. I mean, this is a big bracket day, which means that this may be an inside day. So while it's gapping down, we may stay within that candle from yesterday because it's a huge range, right? It's a $4 range on a $6 stock. So it seems very likely we're going to stay within that range, but we'll see what happens. AMC, I do like AMC today. I've already got that tinfoil line marked. Obviously, yesterday's high and low is marked, and like I've already mentioned, a 2036 is a level that I'm going to be watching. If it breaks, and above that, 2140. So it makes my primary list today. NVIDIA, I don't like trading NVIDIA just because I find that the price is high. I mean, we're at $630 here, and that makes it choppy. You have to give it a big range. Not that you can't trade it. Just trade it like you would Tesla, so to speak. But it can work. It's certainly been in play the last couple of days. If you like it, then by all means trade it. I see a daily level up here at 248.50, which is where it hit the high here on April the 15th. Other than that, previous day's highs and lows are there. Right now we're inside that, but that's a pretty narrow range. We'll see what happens. BBY is the last one I'll do here just because I think it's good. I like it. The previous day level here at 123.80. I'm also going to set a level up here at 128.57. So those are the two levels I'm going to set. We'll see what happens with BBY. It may or may not move. So from all of that, my primary list is going to be Boeing, AMC, BBY, and AMD. So normally I know that Carlos goes through our moderator list. I only see a couple posted here despite the fact I'm late. Let me just swing this into the side of the screen here so you can see it. John is going to be watching Boeing Beyond and NVIDIA for break of high of day. Dima is going to be watching AAL Mara LI and X, and Brian is watching Plan, VIR, Fubo, Beyond the Meat, and Boeing. And I didn't have a chance to post it yet, but I have taken a look at the IPOs. If you're an IPO fan, there's 3 today. You can see here that I'll be watching Dawn, FIGS, and OMIC. So I'll get those queued up so that if and when they hit today, I'll be able to alert the room, and we'll go from there. That's my alarm that tells me we've got 10 minutes to the market open, which means I'm 5 minutes over time. But thanks for sticking with us here. We really appreciate it. Again, thumbs up in YouTube are hugely appreciated. We'll be handing it over now to Brian and Andrew, who are going to take us through the open. Thor, thanks as always, guys. Thor and I will be doing double duty and back here tomorrow morning, hopefully a little smoother. But thanks so much. Take care, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Later, guys.